This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by Greenworks Consults, a company run by longtime listener to the show, Jason, who's an expert when it comes to helping businesses get better at doing business. Learn more about what Greenworks Consults is up to over at greenworksconsults.com, with works spelled W-O-R-X. That's greenworksconsults.com. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Wednesday, May 6th, 2020, and you're tuned in to episode 929 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. We lead off the day with a little bit of a personal outrage story, as I was admittedly shocked to read this morning that zombie cash gobbler / apparent stock fraud vehicle MassRoots just announced that it was not only still somehow spending $75,000 a month, despite having no actual operating business, but that it had also secured a $50,000 loan from the Federal Paycheck Protection Program. That would be an outrage if it turned out to be true, and not just a sad and desperate bid for press by MassRoots founder Isaac Dietrich, who has somehow managed over the years to talk investors into burning up tens of millions of dollars in investment as he's chased dreams of marijuana moguldom. It's been made pretty clear by federal authorities that even ancillary cannabis businesses are barred from federal coronavirus relief programs, so you'd have to question how exactly MassRoots went about securing their supposed announced $50,000 federal loan. Maybe they said they're a BitChain company. This storyline somehow keeps getting even crazier and more entertaining, even with this possible outrage. Give Deborah Borchard's story over at Green Market Report a read. We bounce to a happier headline for story number 2, as officials in Oklahoma just released some sales tax data from April, and the Oklahoman did some math to suss out that medical cannabis patients in the state spent a total of $61.4 million last month, or an incredibly high $217 per registered patient. That is a huge number and indicative of both Oklahoma's strong, though young, medical market, as well as the overall demand seen among consumers to stock up amidst coronavirus pandemic shutdowns. That total is up $7.8 million from March's figure and is the highest number seen so far in the state in the year or so it's allowed medical sales. We've talked a lot about Oklahoma on the show, as it's taken what is easily the most hands-off approach to cannabis regulation, and this is a good piece of evidence that it's been a fruitful approach. Give this one a read. Our third story echoes our second, as Illinois just released its April sales figures for legal adult use marijuana, and they were up over March's totals with $37.3 million in all, $2.6 million more than March. Just under 80% of April's total came from sales to Illinois residents, while the remaining 19% or so was sold to out-of-staters. April's $37 million in change total was just shy of the state's opening month in January, when $39.2 million in sales were made. This is important stuff to know these days. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz it in headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Greenworks Consults, a company run by longtime listener to the show, Jason, who's an expert when it comes to helping businesses get better at doing business. Right now, Jason and his team of experts are running a promotion where they will donate $500 to the Community Food Bank of Southern Arizona for every project they book between now and September. So now when you engage with Jason and the rest of the Greenworks Consults team, not only will you be tuning up and dialing in your own business operations, but you'll also be helping people. As right now, there are a lot of folks who need help. What Greenworks Consults does is look at all the ways that your business is doing business and then hones in on the way that it could be doing it better, which will directly translate into you having more money in your bank account at the end of the month. And the wonderful thing about the work that Greenworks Consults does is that it pays off every single month. Once you fix a problem, it tends to stay fixed. But if you don't work with professionals like Greenworks Consults, you just end up burning away unnecessary money, month after month after month. Pop over to greenworksconsults.com today with Works spelled W-O-R-X and check out all the different things that they can do for you. That's greenworksconsults.com. All right, time for the Blitz. We pick right back up on the overall storyline from our top headlines as Marijuana Business Daily pulled together the total sales figures for adult use marijuana over the last 4 months for California, Colorado, Nevada, and Washington state, with the effects of the coronavirus pandemic shutdown seen varying widely. The biggest drop in sales was seen in Nevada, where April's sales were down 26% from March's. That makes sense in a state that relies heavily on tourism, and dispensaries located in the party city of Las Vegas now closed down. Colorado also saw a steep drop at 16%, while California and Washington state both had increases at 17% and 20% respectively. As with all of Marijuana Business Daily's charts of the week, this one has a lot of good context and background, so I direct you over there to read it in full. Another story to jump into fully today is a new report issued by cannabis data firm Headset, which harvests cannabis retail sales data for various purposes. They just put out a new report that dissects the industry week to week, starting on March 9th, with a particular look at how legal sales have been affected by various regional and national coronavirus policies. Some of the top bullet points on this are the findings that the week of March 16th was the peak week in terms of sales, as it was just before the mass shutdown orders landed, but after the knowledge of the coronavirus became relatively widespread, driving consumers to dispensaries. The sales of edibles are also up, driven by fears of creating complications for the coronavirus, which is a respiratory illness. Don't not read this one. In Massachusetts, Governor Charlie Baker said that representatives from the state's legal adult use marijuana industry would soon be speaking to a 17-member committee he set up to oversee the state's planned reopening. That committee has until May 18th to generate and submit a report to the governor on how the state could reopen, even as the number of confirmed cases of coronavirus and deaths rises in Massachusetts. Governor Baker did declare that medical marijuana businesses could remain open as necessary services, but not adult use. So the industry reps hope to convince Baker's committee that they should be included in the early stages of any planned reopening. Kyle Yeager over Marijuana Moment starts off a 3-headline day with a pickup of news out of Washington, D.C. that the city council has voted to allow for a policy change on how the city runs its elections and ballot measure program in a way that would make it easier for an activist group to collect signatures of support for a citizens' initiative to decriminalize psychedelics. Like every activist group in the nation hoping to still collect ballot measure signatures, the group Decriminalize Nature DC has been stymied by the realities of the coronavirus pandemic and social distancing. In response to the fact that you can't get signatures face-to-face right now, Councilmember Charles Allen put forth a plan to allow activists to collect them electronically. You should swing over to Kyle's piece for all the details on how this exactly works, as this is something that is badly needed everywhere these days. We could use some good working models right now. With the second of 3 on the day, Kyle looks at another group of activists hoping to land a marijuana legalization question on November's ballot, this time up in North Dakota. Legalize ND is working on a proposed measure to legalize adult use and said on Monday that it was exploring the option of putting out petition forms to be signed at various businesses either open now or set to be open, but that it was too soon to send people out to work face-to-face. Another good one to read in full. Back to Massachusetts for Kyle's third story as he covers the legislative hearing we talked about yesterday that was held by Massachusetts lawmakers over a proposed bill that would extend aid to state legal cannabis businesses blocked out of federal coronavirus relief programs. If passed into law, the Massachusetts program would closely mirror the federal Paycheck Protection Program, with the main exception that it would allow for legal marijuana businesses to participate. Kyle has a detailed write-up on the hearing held over Zoom, which you can also just watch yourself as he's posted the video. Our final story on the day is news from the New York Post that Stormy Simon, CEO of High Times Holdings, is out of her job after just a few months. I recently reported that Miss Simon had declared herself a candidate for state office in Utah and wondered how she'd have the time to do so while also running High Times. I guess that's cleared up now. High Times Holdings, which owns both High Times Magazine and the Cannabis Cup series, was struggling even in pre-pandemic days, so it's hard to see how things could get cheerier for it in a world where events just don't happen and where fewer people care about glossy pictures of weed. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Greenworks Consults, and to our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with Marijuana Today. Today.
One take, Shay. One take.